Hi, my name is Lauren, and I am currently a second grade teacher. But before that, I was a paraprofessional, and before that, I implemented behavior therapy and was actually a registered behavior therapist for a while. I was part of behavior therapy for about 5 to 6 years. And while working in all those vocations, something that I worked a lot with was social skills with kids and some young adults. And I think social skills is something that all people struggle with, not just my neurodivergent friends. And so I'm here to list some resources and some tips on how to implement some social skills with your kids, whether it's your kids at home or if you are an educator. Now, being on summer break, I always try to think about the beginning of a school year and what I want to teach right out of the gate. And usually the first thing I want to teach right out of the gate is setting boundaries and what that means. Now, a great resource for that is the Hopscotch song, Boundaries. And you may have heard it on TikTok, or if you watch Miss Rachel, and it goes like this. Please stop, I don't like that. I'm feeling uncomfortable, I need more space. Not around me, don't take it personally. It's just a boundary, just a boundary. When I introduce boundaries, I usually start off with the song and I get really enthusiastic into it. I dance, I sing on top of my lungs, and this just really keeps the kids' attention. And there's something about music that really helps the kids stay engaged. When I'm done with the song, I usually bring them to the carpet and I talk about what a boundary is. And usually I give them a chance to tell me what they think a boundary is, and then I will give them the actual definition. And this is important to have this discussion because you want to make sure that you give them the correct definition of a boundary, but make sure you're also talking about the second part of the boundary, which is you explaining the consequence of what happens if your boundaries aren't respected. Now, this part is often missed by adults as well. Oftentimes we will express boundaries, but we won't talk about the consequences following them. And this is really important because in order for someone to know that this is not a request, that this is a boundary and you are serious, you need to talk about the consequences of if they're not respected. So for instance, a great example I like to give is, let's say you are a kid and you're hanging out with your friends and you have someone that keeps interrupting you when you're talking. A good way to implement a boundary is be like, hey, when you do that, that is crossing a boundary for me. It makes me feel like my voice doesn't matter and I'm unheard. And if you don't stop crossing that boundary, I'm gonna go walk away and I'm gonna go engage with someone else. And this is a good example because not only does it tell your boundary, but it tells why. You don't necessarily have to give a reason why. Lots of people feel like just making a boundary is good enough. I like explaining so that the person doesn't know that it's something personal, and they understand what you're feeling in that moment. And then the last part is you're gonna give them the consequence. And that way when they cross the line, they aren't surprised by what happens. Now, this is a type of social skill you're going to want to model a lot, or you're going to want to discuss a lot. And I know, thinking ahead, it's so hard to fit social skills in, especially if you're a teacher and you're trying to hit reading and writing and grammar and math and science and social studies. So you're like, where do I fit this in? I think a great way to introduce it is in the first week of school when you're introducing procedures and rules and all those beginning of the year stuff. It's a great way to introduce it and put it in their radar. After that, to keep attending to it, what I always like to do is at the end of the day, we always had like 15 minutes where we would clean up the classroom and the car riders would get ready to go and the bus riders are waiting for their meals. And so that's usually a time I play the song. And so they get to hear it over and over again. They get to hear the explanation of a boundary, and it's just a great way to insert it, and it literally only takes like 3 minutes. Now, my favorite part of the video of Hopscotch is not only does it tell us how to make boundaries, it teaches us how to respond to someone setting a boundary, which I feel like isn't talked about a whole lot. So, in part of the song, it goes, please stop, you don't like that, you're feeling uncomfortable, you need more space, not around you, not offended or blue. It's just a boundary, just a boundary. And what I love about this part is it also teaches us how to respect boundaries in a healthy way. And I think oftentimes when someone makes a boundary towards us, we take it very personal. We take it as an attack. Like they're calling us out on harmful behavior, and that may not also always be the case. I mean, sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes people are just uncomfortable with things that other people aren't uncomfortable with. And as social skills go, I think this is a great one to start with because it teaches kids how to make those healthy boundaries and how to express their feelings in the moment. And this will help them with problem-solving skills and conflict resolutions that you can introduce later on throughout the year. And so it's just a great starting foundation for them. And I honestly have a lot of fun introducing it. Well, that's it for today. I plan to post more videos on social skills that you can work on and some great resources and tools. And that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.